Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat, and today I am doing the first of many wrap-ups that I'm hoping to film today. I have been sick for about 2 weeks, not with COVID, just a really nasty cold, and so I'm feeling at about 90%, but I have been reading a lot and not wrapping up anything. So I'm hoping to film 3 different wrap-ups today, and I've kind of put them into categories. So today's wrap-up is Beautifully Bizarre and Dark, and these books, I'm going to talk about them in order from less well-known to most well-known. So without further ado, let's get into it. I have 5 beautifully bizarre, dark books to wrap up for you. So first up, let's talk about The Merry Dredgers by Jeremy C. Shipp. There's this girl, Fina, and her sister is in a coma after something bad happened to her at this cult/retreat, which is in this dilapidated amusement park. So Fina is trying to infiltrate and get into the amusement park to find out what happens. And let me tell you, this amusement park is called Goblintropolis. Like, all of the trees are made of eyes which open and close and hands which open and clench. And it's just giving phantasmagorical vibes. So some of the stuff that I really loved about this book was that it had queer rep, so it had FF, it had cult vibes. The amusement park especially is a wonderful setting. It's really inventive, imaginative, and creepy all at the same time. She also starts to have really trippy nightmares while there, because one of the things that they promote at this retreat/cult/wellness center is to sit in the Hall of Mirrors and meditate with yourself. Over all of this is her mission to find out what happened to her sister. The things that I didn't love so much was that the plot really suffered for the world building. The world building was excellent. However, the plot, pretty much what I just told you, is all that happens. She finds out about her sister, she goes to this place, she's trying to figure out what happens, and that's it. It has an open ending somewhat, so I usually don't mind, but in this one I really wanted to have a concrete, like, yes, this is definitely what happened. So the comparative rec that I would give for this is The Lamb Will Slaughter the Lion by Margaret Killjoy, which has very similar vibes. So overall, I gave this 3.75 stars. And oh, I didn't even mention, my bad. This was an ARC I had from NetGalley, and it's published April 25th this year. So if that sounds really interesting to you, I would check it out, especially if you like amusement park settings or cult vibes. All right, next let's move on to one of my top 10 of the year so far for sure. This is Pure Silence by K.L. Hiers. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say that if you are religious, this is not the book for you. This is not the book for you, because the thing that I loved about this that was so delicious was that it has blasphemous interpretations of the Bible. So if that's not your jam, definitely don't read this, don't pick it up, that's all good. So just skip ahead, no problems, but let's get into it. So this is following 2 main characters. So there's Cassidy, who's also named as Goldie. He's 42 years old, and he's an ex-pro wrestler who is known for like his golden locks. But now he like trains at a gym. And the other one we're following is known as Day, and he is 22-year-old on a heaven-sent mission where he can hear other people's inner thoughts. And his father has told him from when he was a child that their mission is to kill the people who have such disgusting inner thoughts. So Day is basically this cinnamon roll muffin of a character who is also a serial killer who kills really bad people. So as it opens, like, Day has just come out of like a, what's it called, a trance, and he has killed someone in a gas station store, and it's because that person was doing really bad things to kids. So he's stabby. Okay, yeah. As I was saying, Day goes back to return the wallet. He realizes that even with the headphones off, he cannot hear Goldie's inner thoughts. So it's very much like an Edward Bella type of thing where Goldie is special and Day is now obsessed with him. So this just had so many elements that I was really, really intrigued by, like to read unique romance that never been done before. Like some of the ones, I'm not going to mention, but some of the ones recently that have been takes on demons or like angels or God type of romances where it's messing with that kind of thing, they wish that they could be this book. Day only talks through, he can only talk through talking to God as the loophole. He's not supposed to talk to other people about his mission. So in the beginning, he like is talking to God, but like talking to Goldie. So he says, "Dear God, I really need my angel to understand that sometimes my mission involves killing people." So like that's in the beginning, and you're not sure if Day is just absolutely crazy or if he's crazy but also God is speaking to him. Like you're not sure which one it is. So my other favorite quote is it says, "I am God's wrath," and then he goes off. The dialogue in this is quite spicy, quite spicy. So if you like spicy bedroom banter, this would be for you, as long as, again, you're not religious. So for some tropes, this has size difference trope, age gap trope, as well as unique power dynamic. Speaks like an angel, acts like a demon. Blasphemous interpretations of scripture. Touch him and die trope, hurt comfort trope. Yeah, then I will talk about the cons. A bit too many sex scenes, even for me. It made it feel more like smut erotica than romance near the end, with such endless frequency. Bam, 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 we get it, they're virile. Some sex scenes were just oddly placed. I like a good fight scene and I don't mind gore, but maybe keep the sexy times away from corpses. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, I think you would really like this if you have read any of the Necessary Evil series by Only James, which follows serial killers. Yeah, so if you like some dark content with some blasphemous content with unusual romance tropes mixed up in there, then this would be for you. This was very spicy for me. So this is one of my top romances of the year so far. All right, let's move on to the third book I read. This is a collection of short stories I got as an ARC from NetGalley. This is The Trees Grew Because I Bled There by LaRocca, who identifies as he, they. So this came out March 7th, so it is out right now. Some of the themes in here are death, sick thoughts, and illness, as well as hurting and protecting children. And this has queer rep, it has FF, as well as MM. I had 2 4.5s, so The Trees Grew Because I Bled There is also one of the short story names, and that was my favorite one. So it's a give and take of an extremely fucked up relationship, but I really liked that story. I thought it was like so good. Yeah, it left me thinking about it for days afterwards. Bodies Are for Burning was my other favorite one. A pyromaniac daydreams at the worst possible time while taking care of a small child. So some of the other ones are that a child is urged to go play with children outside in a downpour. A couple having a picnic with their baby is pulled into a game. A son shares his feelings when viewing a cemetery plot with his father. A vacationing father is offered an impossible deal concerning his daughter. And then there were some that I didn't like as much, but even those were 3.5 stars. So overall, I gave this short story collection 4 stars because while the stories were quite good, it had a few themes that I'm not such a huge fan of and that I wish I had known were part of it. Namely, a lot of dark stories concerning very young children. I think I've said It didn't used to be the case, but I have a 1.5-year-old daughter now, so I just really don't like to read about them being in danger. Like, I'm fine. So some of these I didn't like that much in that regard, but also there were an odd number of stories in here about illness, specifically cancer and chemotherapy, which I've never thought about it before because I've never intentionally read books with that in it, but I really didn't like it. It's just a downer, and not in like a horror way, but a downer in like just a depressing world fact kind of way. So yeah, I think maybe it's 4 stars right now, but maybe over time it might go down in stars. We'll see where the final ranking is when I do my quarter wrap up. Okay, number 4 on this list is, we're totally switching gears now, and we're going to another romance, which is quite bizarre. Just the setup is bizarre. So this is Primal by K.A. Merikan. And this is not my first Merikan, but I think it's my first one I'm wrapping up for you because the other ones are in other wrap-ups. The timeline is all out of order, whatever. Merikan is a writing duo from Poland, and they are friends, 2 friends. So they are excellent, and I don't know how I didn't know about them, but I've read, I think, 3 or 4 books by them now, and you'll see them because they're in every other wrap-up because I went through them a binge, and I'm reading one right now that I think will be one of the best of the year. Anyway, this one has a bizarre setup, and it is a fun read. I would say this is like a popcorn read. It's not going to be your favorite of all time probably, but you will absolutely be engaged through the whole reading process. So this is following Jag, who is basically the protector, the guardian, the modern day Tarzan of this dump where like people dump cars and parts and metal parts and stuff. So Jag was kicked out of his family, which was like a prepper family that didn't believe in being queer, so they didn't accept him. They kicked him out. He wandered in the woods for ages, and basically he collapsed on the edge of town near this dump. And the owner of the dump takes him in and has raised him the last few years. So he acts as this kind of feral guardian of the dump. So he has different like caves that he's built within like the dump parts, and he doesn't like anyone to know where like his den is. And as it opens, some of his friends, who are friends of the dump's owner, are taking him on his first date. And it's very clear from the beginning that he is all about like being outside and hunting and gathering and protecting, and he is out of his depth in a like restaurant where he has to order food and make small talk. So that's not really his forte. So the date goes absolutely horribly, and he returns back to the dump really saddened that he can't find a mate as his friends have found. So when he gets there, he has a task, and it's to bury one of the bodies that the local motorcycle club has left at the dump for them to bury. They kind of have this like working relationship where the dump will do small favors for the motorcycle club, and the motorcycle club will do favors for the guy who owns the dump. So he's like, I have nothing better to do. That's fine. I'll just go dig this hole and bury this body. So as he's digging the hole, the body wakes up, and things go from there. So the body's name is Dane, and he is this plus size, chubby main character who's like a tech guy who has really bold, colorful tattoos all over his body of superheroes like Captain America. And he also has fantasies of like rough sex and primal play. So when he is chained to Jag's wall, because Jag is convinced like he was meant for him, right? He just was like a gift from above that was sent to him. So he wants to keep him captive until he will be his mate, right? So at the beginning, they're kind of like going back and forth because Jag's like, yeah, but if I let you go, then the motorcycle club is going to kill you because they already tried to kill you. So then he's like, yeah, that's fair. So he's hiding out with Jag in his den. So it's just like this completely odd premise where they're in society, but they're not. like he's foraging, but they're in a city. So it's just so bizarre, and things go from there. This one was more sweet. So Merikan, they tend to write like darker romances, but this one was the sweetest of all of the ones I've read so far. So if that sounds interesting to you, check it out, because yeah, like I said, the setting was so bizarre. A romance in a dump. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, and the last one that I'm gonna wrap up today is Venomous Lumpsucker by Ned Beauman. So this is a futuristic dystopia, eco-dystopia. Capitalism reigns supreme, like it does now, but when corporations want to expand, so say you want to wipe out a coral reef, you have to pay a certain amount of extinction credits in order to wipe out a species, and you have to pay many more credits if the species is deemed intelligent. So we're following two main characters. The first one is a woman who is aboard a ship. She's been studying the venomous lumpsucker and trying to see if they are intelligent or not. The second main character is a guy who works for the corporation that she works for, and he, behind their back, has done some dark dealings, and he needs her to say that the venomous lumpsuckers are not intelligent in order for him to get out of hot water. The only problem is she has already verified that they are intelligent. So this sets off a much different book than I thought. This turns into a global road trip where they are trying to hunt down venomous lumpsucker specimens so that more testing can be done, or that they can be proved to be not extinct. And as you're traveling around the world, you're just seeing like snapshots of different ways that different environments and people and societies and cultures value certain things, as basically there is complete environmental collapse. So overall, I gave this 3.5 stars because the imagination and world building was so there. To the point though that sometimes things were over-explained, or like there was so much detail that I was like, okay, whoa. I don't know how much I care about that certain political, socioeconomic impact. But I think like if you really like the nitty-gritty of like the environment crisis, not just woven into the story, but like in depth how it would play out through different countries, political channels, economic channels, then I think you would really like this. I don't really love to read heavily political books. Books are like my escape from that. So I wasn't that pleased when it went off in that realm. I was more here for the really interesting world building and ideas of what people would do when there is collapse. So one of the coolest things was like these things called spin drifters, where they're kind of like traveling wind turbines in the ocean where they create their own atmosphere and rain, and they just like kind of go around. But the way that it worked was like this, the companies that controlled them went bankrupt, so no one is controlling them. So there's just these massive like storm makers that travel the ocean. And then it's like, can people hack them? What would they do with them? You know, this kind of stuff. And they're visiting different areas which are supposed to be the last safe places for certain animals that are going extinct. But then when they get there, they realize, oh no, people have been burying like acid here, so everything's destroyed anyway. Or like, you find that when animals are going extinct, there's this new technology which uploads the brain in super thin slices. But then another character is having a breakdown because his wife who died, her brain wasn't able to be sliced as thin. So if she's brought back to life, she'll have less animation than something like a frog that died. So there are so many things to think about in this book. This would be such a good one to like buddy read or have like in a book club. I think there would be so much to talk about. Yeah, so those are the 5 that I read, and they are all really bizarre, hey? Please let me know any of the bizarre books that you have read lately. I do like when there's something a little different. Yeah, so I hope that you found some to check out, and I will be wrapping up many more. So I will see you very soon in another video. Lots of love. Bye!